On behalf of our Mayor, William Peduto, the city's Public Safety Department, members of City Council, and members of the community, welcome to this press conference regarding a new initiative entitled Safer Together Community Partnership. First, I would like to present the visionary leader of our city, Mayor William Peduto.
Thank you, Reverend. And I also want to thank Reverend Burgess for putting together this collaboration, because that's really what we're talking about today. It's a way for city government to partner with organizations that are on the ground floor in our neighborhoods to collaborate with the people that we serve, and to put it together through a filter of not just public safety, but the men and women who make up our different public safety bureaus. Pittsburgh has been blessed in that we've had a positive relationship on a whole between public safety and community. But times come in any city where incidents can break that trust, where a separate type of a situation can harm a community's relationship, not only with its police bureau, but with its city government as well. And we've seen that happen across this country. Every city is prone to it, and the cities that are able to effectively deal with it are the ones that are proactive. The resolution that's being presented by City Council formalizes a relationship and a bond between Pittsburgh's Bureau of Police, our Public Safety Bureau, and our people. And it works on a positive way to find ways to work together to solve problems, to be able to make Pittsburgh a better place to live. I want to applaud the work of Pittsburgh City Council. Our administration has been about community policing from its start, and this only helps to more adequately formalize that policy. So thank you, Reverend.
Thank you very much. So now it's my task to sort of explain or give you an overview of the program. Today, we, Mayor, Council, public safety officials, and community representatives introduce Safer Together, Pittsburgh's Community Partnership. I would like to thank Mayor Peduto, members of his administration, President Kraus, members of City Council, and various community representatives for their leadership and participation in creating this new initiative. We believe the Department of Public Safety must work in partnership with the citizens of the community to increase public safety, improve the quality of life, and ensure the delivery of fair and impartial public safety services. We believe as a city we are indeed safer together. This community partnership seeks to increase public safety through 5 strategies. 1, building relationships of respect, cooperation, and trust within and between the Department of Public Safety and the community. 2, improving education, oversight, monitoring, diversity, hiring practices, and accountability of the Pittsburgh Department of Public Safety. 3, ensuring fair, equitable, and courteous treatment for all Department of Public Safety employees and community members at all times. 4, increasing the public's understanding of the Department of Public Safety policies and procedures and recognizing exceptional public safety service. And 5, facilitating community activities and projects that establish positive and healthy encounters between the Department of Public Safety and the community. This initiative is housed in public safety and guided by a diverse steering committee of community leaders and administered by the dedicated staff. The most important work of the community partnership will actually be performed with and by community partners, faith-based and community-based organizations, community groups, resident councils, and individual citizens throughout the city. This work will include, but is not limited to, coordinating a series of local community conversations, creation of a participant database, new communication tools, and overall, an extensive citywide outreach effort. This community partnership builds on the work done by U.S. Attorney David Hickton, Brandy Fisher, and the Alliance for Police Accountability, Tim Stevens, and the Black Political Empowerment Program, and the Micah 6 Pastors Coalition convened by Dr. Darrell Kennedy. Today, through this community partnership, we can build relationships of trust and cooperation. Together, through this community partnership, we can increase diversity and mutual understanding. Together, through this community partnership, we can improve public safety by improving community confidence. Because I believe, as a city, we are indeed safer together. We're going to ask at this time that the outstanding leader of council, my president, President Bruce Cross, would come and give his remarks.
Thanks, thank you, thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here on this incredibly important and I would argue historic occasion. I can think of no more important national dialogue since I would argue the shootings at Sandy Hook Elementary School than that conversation of community police relations. And I am proud to stand here with an administration, a public safety department, a chief of police, and members of council to publicly affirm this council's commitment, not just today, but ongoing and forever, to the importance of the work that police do and the role that we as your elected officials and your public officials and your community leadership play in that discussion. So I could not be more proud to be here today. I would like to applaud the leadership of Councilman Burgess. Councilman Lavelle sends his apologies. He's having some car troubles this morning. He cannot be here. But you will hear also from our leadership in public safety as to their commitment to this. And again, I would just like to applaud leadership from Councilman Burgess and proud that City Council is a part of such an historic piece of legislation. Thank you very much.
And now we'd like to hear from our public safety officials. We have joining with us Director Bucar and Chief McClay. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Reverend. As most of you know, when I first got here, the mayor charged the Public Safety Department with building community outreach. We started that effort in our search for police chief by having 6 meetings throughout the community, planting seeds and gathering information on what the city wanted to see in a new police chief. Since the police chief arrived and I've arrived, we've built a staff of community outreach professionals in the Department of Public Safety whose job is to build upon those seeds for all the bureaus in public safety throughout the city. We all recognize in the Department of Public Safety that we can't do this alone. We have to have good, strong relationships with our community leaders and members of the community because we only have a limited number of public safety professionals in the city, and we need the eyes and ears of those who actually live in the city to help us with that work. This initiative will only help us build upon the seeds that we've planted so far. We have a lot of great ideas in our community outreach staff that we want to move forward with throughout the year. Hopefully get into some youth programs, into the schools, into the churches and other establishments and organizations in the city. And all of the structure that's put in place by this legislation will just add to the information and advice that we can gather from significant community leaders throughout the city of Pittsburgh. This is the beginning. We're going to build on this, and hopefully by the end of this year you will see some tremendous improvements in community relations, and the Department of Public Safety community outreach partnerships will look much different than what they look right now. With that said, I'm going to ask Chief McClay to say a few words about some of the community outreach efforts he's made. I know he's done a tremendous amount of community outreach separate from what I have done. He's been to many meetings late in the evenings and on the weekends, and I'm going to ask him to say a few brief words before we turn it back over to Reverend Burgess. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. This is a very, very exciting moment for me. I was hired here with the understanding that I had a couple of major challenges. One, to build trust between the Police Bureau and some of the communities we serve, particularly our communities of color, and two, to restore accountability and the integrity to the systems. And since I've been here, I've been excited by two really powerful realizations. Number one, the relationships between our police bureau and our communities of color were nowhere near as fractured as I had feared coming in the door. And the continual conversation I would have, regardless of context, is, Chief, what do you need? How can we help? We want to work with you. We need to work together. This is really exciting to me because the public safety challenges that are plaguing our communities, particularly our disadvantaged communities of color, are problems that police alone cannot solve. I love the name of the initiative because we as members of the community really are safer together when we stand up in unison and look at those who are driving crime and say, we love you, we care about you, but we're not going to tolerate this anymore. We're with public safety on this one. So I'm very, very excited about the opportunities this provides us. The other powerful thing I've learned is this is a far, far, far better police department than people realize. We've got a lot of highly dedicated professionals who give their heart and soul on a daily basis to this community. And the one overarching value I see resonating in every one of my employees is pride. They want to serve, they want to have that powerful connection, and they want to make a difference. So this is an exciting opportunity as leadership within our communities are coming together to join We the Police to really make a powerful difference on the public safety challenges that are plaguing us right now. We should be proud of ourselves, Pittsburgh, because you don't have to look too far around the nation to see communities handling this much differently. They're pulling apart, they're pulling separate from one another. Here in Pittsburgh, we're pulling together, so I'm proud of us, and I'm excited about what we're going to accomplish. Thank you.
So this initiative, although led obviously by our mayor, he has allowed me to coordinate it, and we've worked with public safety officials, but more importantly, and probably most importantly, we've had a large outreach to community-based and faith-based organizations who participate in the development of the program. We have two community leaders who are going to represent the scores of community and faith-based organizations that we've talked to, reached out to, and who have played an important part of the development of this new initiative. We have Reverend Dr. Darrell Kennedy, who is the pastor of the Rodman Street Baptist Church, but also the convener of the Micah 6 Pastors Coalition, which is a coalition of over 50 African-American pastors throughout this region. And then following that, we have Tim Stevens, who is the convener and chairperson of the Black Political Empowerment Project. Tim and I have worked on a series of legislative agendas in the past, and this work continues to codify our work and expand upon the work we've done in the past, and look forward to a brighter future. But first, Dr. Kennedy.
I want to thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Councilman, for giving us this opportunity to come. The Micah 6 Coalition of Pastors is not just African American. It is all pastors across this entire region. We believe that it takes a village to raise a city. So we want to work together across racial lines, across this entire region, to make Pittsburgh the most livable city for all of its citizens. So we are honored today to be at the table. We have learned in our time of living that either you are at the table or you're on the menu being cut up. So we are glad to be at the table on the front end to help in this steering committee to be able to work together with the public safety, with our new police chief. I think this is a great opportunity, but we believe that the church has always been the cornerstone for the community. If we can get our churches together, our faith communities together, to work with the government together, we can make Pittsburgh the most livable city for all of its citizens. Thank you.
Good morning. January 26, 2010, I stood at this same spot with a number of children from Kappa, white and black children, to deal with the incident around Jordan Miles. This past year, We have seen nationally great passion with regard to the issue of the community and the police, and particularly between the African American community and the police. In Pittsburgh, we have seen demonstrations, we have seen marches, and we have seen marches and demonstrations between 2010 and today. We have seen marches going back to the death of Johnny Gamage, which occurred on October 12th, 1995, which I led as NAACP president. The good news is, I declare, as a community activist of some 45 plus years, that we have a new day in Pittsburgh. I declare that, and I'm depending on everyone behind me to back that. I think this mayor has sent a clear signal when he appointed Mr. Bucar from out of town as our safety director to begin a new day, when he had the wisdom to create a community process that Mr. Bucar mentioned that went into every zone. He appointed a committee of community people, an interracial community committee, to research who to bring into Pittsburgh. The mayor had the wisdom to not ignore their choice or choices. And from those choices, he chose Mr. Cameron McClay. Mr. McClay and I met for 2 hours in the BPAP headquarters at Freedom Unlimited soon after he came to Pittsburgh. One of the things we talked about was reactivating the flyer that was created out of the death of Johnny Gamage in 95, 96. And immediately had Commander Rochelle Brackney call me, and we began to review that brochure. We've had others participate, such as Beth Pittenger from Citizen Police Review Board, and Vic Volchek from ACLU, David Harris, University of Pittsburgh, Brandy Fisher from Alliance for Police Accountability. And there's a meeting tomorrow where we continue reviewing that brochure, the revised version of which was handed out at the Black and White Reunion 2 weeks ago. Our goal with that simple document is to begin to eliminate incidents in our city. When the mayor appointed the former Citizen Police Review Board chair as director of Office of Municipal Investigation and his former legal counsel as the city's solicitor, I think that sent a clear signal that a new day was beginning. That's President Barack Obama calling to congratulate the city of Pittsburgh on having a new day in community police relations. So I want to thank the mayor, Mr. Bucar, Mr. McClay, who is the greatest PR agent you could have in beginning to lay a foundation for police community relations. I just have to say that. We have been able to help lead with other community partners 3 community conversations that Mr. Bucar has participated in, and he's been absolutely brilliant in how he's communicating with the public. I want to thank Councilman Burgess, who he and I have partnered together for the last few years on creating 4 pieces of police reform legislation. And our goal is that the council people who stand with us today, that they will make certain, along with the leadership of this Department of Public Safety and the Police Bureau, that every piece of those legislative initiatives are fully implemented so that Citizen Pittsburgh can, in fact, have a new level of belief in the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police and how we operate. Safer Together Pittsburgh, I want to congratulate Mr. Burgess on his leadership in continuing the conversations that we began out of the Jordan Miles case when he said to me on the afternoon of January 26th, he said, because of what happened in council that morning And because he said specifically of the kids who spoke in that chamber, we will begin to initiate legislation. Councilman Kraus has always been very supportive. Happy to see you in that leadership. And all the council people who are standing with us today, I congratulate you and thank you for this opportunity to begin again a new day in community police relations.
So I want to I do want to acknowledge the presence of my colleagues on council. We have Councilwoman Natalia Rudiak, Councilman Corey O'Connor, and Councilman Dan Gilman, as you see, and Councilwoman Teresa Smith, who has been from the very beginning. Teresa came to me and said, Reverend, we have to do something to increase the participation between the community and public safety, and in many ways, she's the beginning of this process, and I want to thank her for her insight. And so I think, Mr. Mayor, we have a few minutes. If there's questions that you have of us, I just finally want to really, again, thank the mayor for this opportunity to sort of convene this process. I think that together we make a pretty good team. So,
Let me just add one last point, because a lot of people probably wonder, what does this affect? How will it do changes? Tim's been through this so many times and so many press conferences like this before. It starts at the very bottom, it goes to the very top. Everything's on the table. Discussions about police procedure, of how things move along, having an understanding and a communication, so there aren't surprises. Programs, I just saw our firefighters walk by, they're still here, that would involve firefighters. I would love to see a walking school bus where the Hamilton Avenue station is able to walk kids to Faison in the morning, and that relationship being born. Programs with our police league that involve basketball and kids that Councilwoman Smith has talked about for years, and getting those programs in place so that not only do those kids see that officer differently when he's wearing his gym clothes, but that officer sees that kid differently as well. And maybe that kid will one day want to grow up to be a police officer and be positively influenced. And then those discussions that we stay away from. The discussions on race relations, those discussions that have to be talked about in order to be able to solve problems. And we have that discussion as well. But we do it in a way that's very Pittsburgh, where we gather in the church basements, where we gather in the community center, where we sit around the table with everyone there, the officers, the administration, the clergy, the community. And we're not afraid to discuss anything.